Hi, everybody. Welcome into today's show here on JTV. It is Wednesday. It is Hump Day. I'm David. That's Adam. Thank you, the Insurance Circle Agency, myinsurancecircle.com. So a lot of high school sports updates to get to right away. Maybe not, because everything's been canceled. All this weather we've been having.
Just too cold?
Yeah, except for girls soccer. They still made a lot of the girls soccer teams go out there in shorts and jerseys and play.
My goodness, making them play in any weather.
I guess.
Ugh.
They would, except for football. They play in any weather.
That's true. Football does.
But high school spring sports, a lot of baseball and softball because everything was canceled earlier this week and last weekend. The rest of this week and this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, a lot of baseball and softball happening. So check MHSA.com, school websites, athletic pages like Facebook, Twitter, etc. for cancellations or any schedule changes. So more than likely, your school probably changed a few of their games around. So the only game, sport that was in action really earlier this week, girls soccer. So Springport, check out photos from their game from Monday on our website at jtv.tv. So a lot of track and field, baseball, softball, and soccer happening this weekend. Lacrosse, let's see, tennis, golf. There's some golf happening. It's cold out there, though, to golf. I know even some of the leagues, like regular beer leagues, are still happening, though, starting this week. But I'm a fair weather person. I would just opt out if it was me. But I'm not good enough to play in a golf league, so I don't have to worry about that. And for next school year, looking way ahead here, the Michigan High School Athletic Association today announced their 2025-2026 school year classifications. And, of course, this determines what division or what class your school is in and competes in for sports based on enrollment. So, of course, football is the only sport that's different, not having just divisions 1, 2, 3, and 4 like all the other sports. So, in football, only changes really that affect our area. Michigan Center, their enrollment's up. They went up from Division 6, which is where Grass Lake, Columbia, Lumen, and Napoleon are, to D5. So behind J-High, Northwest, and Western, Michigan Center is the next biggest school now in the area based on enrollment. So they are D5. Grass Lake and Columbia staying in D6. Lumen, again, normally in 7, but just like last year, they are opting up again, so they will be in D6. So Napoleon, also, they are up this year, so shout out to the Pirates. They're up from D7 now to 6. So bad news bears for Napoleon if you make the playoffs in football. You know who you're going to get in the first round.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
So, and then not in Jackson County, but I thought I'd mention this because it was interesting. Lenawee powerhouse Hudson, who Napoleon played in the first round last year. I think you were at that game. Hudson is down from 7 to 8, but that never changes their football outcome. They're still a powerhouse. But if you're Springport, who is probably going to make the playoffs again next year, way too early predictions, but that's bad news for Springport because now you're going to get Hudson in the first round, probably at their place. That's a long bus ride from Springport to Hudson.
Cool place to play, but long bus ride.
It's still my favorite place to go to a game for high school football.
Yeah, I was going through photos on my phone, just trying to get rid of some old ones that don't need to be there, and that photo came up from being on the field with Josh doing that game, and it was just kind of like, whoa. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that was a pretty sweet field.
Yeah. And it's people park like on the side of because they don't have any parking there really besides a little tiny lot when you pull into the little drive
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
mostly on the grass. I got there extra early so I could get a parking spot because I didn't want to have to be fighting with some families over parking spots. So I got there.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
I'm from the David Rice Show, don't you know?
Nobody knew.
Well, that's sad.
I know. Nobody knew.
Even
tried to
people in
flex.
Lansing have texted me and said they know who
Really?
we are, but
Oh.
not down there.
Yeah, what the heck? And,
What the what?
Maybe I shouldn't have ran up to people and been like, I'm a part of the David Rice Show.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah. And then they were like, no. And I was like,
That's
oh,
our
okay.
second co-host
That's
right there, too.
That's right. I produced the dang thing.
Right, exactly. But no, they park like right on the side, and it's that main road right there is 127. That just goes right through town.
Yeah.
So people are parking there, and they've got like the farmland across the street, so that's cool. That's actually a veterinarian place. I think
Is
I
it
said
really?
that right. Yeah, that's a
vet office?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
That's what that building
I
is.
just remember when I was there last time, it was really cold. I remember that. I remember it being very,
Before
very cold.
this last time you went?
No, this last time I went.
okay.
I just remember it being very, very cold. And I remember like
Yeah.
just waiting, like when it was, because it was decided, I think, pretty early on. So I was just waiting for it to be over. And once it finally got over, it's like, I'm getting to my car and I'm turning my heaters on full blast. Like I need to thaw out.
Right. Yeah, you were probably one of the only people that left early in that game, I would imagine.
I left when it was over, but I mean, I
oh,
was
you stayed?
I stayed till it was till the end. Yeah, just because
It was playoffs.
Yeah, and it's like I don't do too many of those where it was mainly because I think somebody couldn't go, so it was me. I kind of filled in, and I was just like, I felt like I might as well stay there to the end, at least get a shot of like everybody celebrating.
Me and Austin both went to Springport. That's probably
there
why.
you go. That's what it was. Yep. I remember that because I remember getting the text from everybody.
Yeah,
Of like updates of the games.
the Port.
The
When
Port.
their first game.
right.
Unless if you're Jeff Steers, then you called it the Pert and made a typo in his spelling.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay, I was gonna say. I was like, what is he doing?
But anyways, Hudson is down from 7 to 8, so that doesn't really change their football outcome, though, in their results of the season. They're still going to be a powerhouse. It doesn't matter what division they're in. And then all the other sports, Napoleon is up from Class C to Class B, and they're building a new gym behind the high school, too. I drove
remember
by
you
it
saying
the
that.
other day.
It's starting to look nice. Are they?
They haven't done anything on the inside yet. They're still building the outside,
Okay.
but it's tall, I would say.
We're gonna have to do a game for. Hopefully, they kept in mind that like to be able to fit in a production truck somewhere in there.
Well, it's not in the complex where the football field is.
Right,
Remember, it's
right.
across the
I just
street,
hope that
but-
I just hope that there's gonna be enough room for us because I would love to be able to do games there. Because right now we haven't been able to do a live game there, so at least it's been a while.
or maybe that's going to be like an aux gym of some sort because they're still keeping the other.
Maybe that one's going to be the
Gym.
aux gym, and this one's going to be the gym where the games go. I don't know. We'll have to.
Well,
have to
either
find out.
way, I would imagine it's more what's the word? Adaptable, I guess. More better for us. At
accessible.
least. Yes,
accessible?
that's the word.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not very smart.
No. Well, I'm not saying that, but you can say that. But I wonder if Josh knows anything about it. We should ask him sometime.
Yeah.
He has some details.
Yes. I'll have to text coach.
There you go.
Unless if
Text the
he's-
coach.
Unless if he's busy.
That's right, and then he won't respond to you.
No, he'll still respond.
Oh,
to
see,
me.
there you go. So what the heck?
But they are up from Class C to Class B. So we've talked about it a lot more in football season. Of course, with Grass Lake being in D6, they didn't make the playoffs, even though they went 6-3 or they had 7 wins. But they didn't make the playoffs because 90% of the schools in the Cascades or who they play are smaller divisions. So even if they win by 50 against every single school, they wouldn't make the playoffs because they wouldn't have enough points.
Yeah, that point system is weird. I'm saying it. We've
I
said
think
it
it's
all year.
stupid.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've said it all year, but I mean, this is from somebody that wasn't from, that I don't know, didn't see this beforehand before coming here, and now that I'm exposed to it, it's just like this point system is pretty dumb. I think they need to figure out some other way of doing it.
Well, it used to be the 6 wins and you're in, just like
Yeah,
college.
and that makes more sense.
Yeah,
makes
6
more
and
sense.
3 and you're in.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you got a 6-3 record. You're doing pretty good. So
yeah, especially last year, it was a tough conference because Leslie, out of nowhere, really, because nobody really had them winning a bunch of games.
and they played
At the start of
extremely
the
well.
year,
Yeah,
they
and they were
did.
really good.
So you had them, Manchester, who made the playoffs and made the second round. You also had, let's see, Napoleon towards the end of the year did really well, and then Grass Lake.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is for Grass Lake now, it helps and not really, because now that Napoleon is up in 6 instead of 7, Grass Lake is in 6. So that actually is a positive for Grass Lake because they'll have to play Napoleon because they're both in the east of the Cascades.
Right.
And Michigan Center going up from 6 to 5, Grass Lake gets points from that too. So now, again, way too early predictions. Will Grass Lake be in the playoffs next year? No. But
oh, that's your prediction?
yes.
No playoffs this early? Oh man.
No playoffs. I'm writing it off now
Oh wow.
in April.
Fake fan. I'm telling you. I told you last year. Fake fan.
Anyways, but no, they still help some points wise, though. Going up because they have to play both Center and Napoleon. So Center's 5, Napoleon 6, Grass Lake 6. If they play Columbia again, who's on the west side, Columbia's still in 6. So I just think overall the point system needs to be abandoned.
Yeah.
Because it's just, let's say you are Vandercook, who's D8, and they struggle, right? There's no way of going around that. But like if you're playing Michigan Center, who's D5, Grass Lake Columbia, who's 6, Napoleon 6, so 4 games right there, even though they could lose by 50 in all 4 of those games, they could still, finish 1-8 and have a shot at making the playoffs just because they got those points
That's so
from
crazy.
playing them.
So you get points not even like so it's like quality of losses as well.
Yes.
Oh,
Because
that's weird.
remember Springport last year in the first round played Addison, who was 4-5.
Imagine
But because Addison's D8, they get all the points because the only other D8 schools in the Cascades are Vandercook, who they play, but they didn't play EJ, who's 8. So, at Homer, too, I forgot about Homer. So Addison played Homer, Vandercook, 2 D8 schools, but everybody else is 7 or higher. So they automatically get the points anyways.
Imagine if that's how baseball was, and it was like, all right, the Colorado Rockies, even though they're like the worst team in baseball because they faced
By
the
far.
Dodgers, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks all year, we're gonna put them in the playoffs. Like, just doesn't make any sense. I understand they have to do something because when you do face
it's
better
like-
competition, but
Well, to me, it's like, it reminds me of the SEC bias again when it comes to like football and the bracket. It's like, oh, you finished below 500 this year in the regular season, but you're in the SEC, so we'll put you in anyways.
quality of competition, it's kind of the same thing. You're right. They're kind of
Right.
basing it off of you're in this conference, so you're probably better than your record suggests, so we're going to put you in. That's kind of what it sounds like.
Right, and that's kind of the same thing, but it shouldn't matter if you finish 1-8 in your 9 games in the football schedule. No, you shouldn't make the playoffs. Even 4-5, you should have to be at least 5-4
Yeah.
minimum, and then you do the points after.
Or we need to have like some sort of wild card thing. I wonder if that's at all possible to like get a team to sneak in that maybe wouldn't. Be
I
within
liked that idea, but I think because it's a statewide thing, they don't do playoffs like Jackson region playoffs,
Right.
so-and-so region playoffs. Like, Grass Lake was right on the borderline as far as the top 32. So let's say they're 33, and let's say a team from Marquette is 32. One would have to go either up there, or Marquette would have to come all the
that's a
way
good
down
point.
here just for a play-in.
Yeah.
It's essentially a play-in game.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do that just because of travel and that.
Right. One thing I would be curious with is,
But I
like,
do like that idea, though.
yeah, I'd be curious if the MHSAA could like come up with some ideas that are different from this, that would just be alternate ideas that they could maybe pitch and be like, what does everybody else think? Because I think if they come up with some different ideas of doing playoffs and playoff seeding, I think we could come up with something unique.
Not having
and
it on a
good.
gambling network?
Okay, well you didn't have to do that.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Go
you didn't
ahead.
have
Go
to
ahead.
do my boys at FanDuel bad. But
Go Tigers.
Yeah, go Tigers. Playing right now. They're playing right now. Hopefully
Yeah.
they're doing okay. Yeah, I just hope that MHSAA could maybe pitch some new ideas to get the ball rolling, to maybe change up how playoffs are, and maybe we could be the state where other states could look at it and be like, oh, we should do playoffs like that, but not like how it is now.
Well, people were happy with 6-3 because you got quality. All 32 teams they got in were quality.
Was this because of COVID? Was that what made this go to this sort of seeding and this sort of point system? Was that COVID, or what caused
No,
that? That was their just decision to do it?
I believe so.
That's interesting that they thought this was a better idea. I mean, what do I know? I'm not the one that is in charge of that. I just talk on a podcast with you, but I just don't think it's the greatest system.
So do I. It's
yeah.
okay.
I'm curious what like schools like states like Texas, Florida, Louisiana, like huge football states. I wonder what they do for their systems.
Yeah, and most other states have 6 or 7 divisions. Like we have 8 here.
Right.
Plus 2 8-man divisions too. So we have 10 divisions of football here.
Who's like the best 8-man team in our area? If you had to pick one that you'd be like, yeah, they're probably the best 8-man team.
Not including Jackson County?
Yeah, sure.
We only have one 8-man in Jackson County. It's Concord.
Oh, they're the only one. Okay, well, do you know of one that isn't Jackson County that you can think of like a dominant 8-man?
Lenawee Christian.
They're a good one. Okay, interesting. I haven't watched much 8-man football.
No, it's 8, but it's essentially 7-on-7.
Yeah, I just think it might be fun to watch because of scoring.
And it's a lot
out
higher
of control.
scoring.
Well, that's what I think. Like scoring kind of out of control. It's fun to watch scoring in football. I almost feel like it'd be a fun alternative. But I mean, I would love to watch one of those games eventually, just to see the format of it. Is kind of my thing.
Well, we have a few highlights last football season that are on Matt Kibbe. By the way, great announcing on the softball from Matt Kibbe. Did you see the triple play?
No, I didn't get to see that. I was working during that.
I don't know if it ended up making SportsCenter top 10
Was
or
it
not,
crazy?
but NCAA posted it, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was from the Mercy Oakland softball, a triple play.
Oh, that's sick. Our boy Kibbe out there.
Yeah.
ESPN.
So, but anyways, he was behind the camera. He was shooting at Concord a couple times, so we have highlights. But
yeah.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of just a big backyard.
I was gonna say almost like flag football, obviously minus the flags, but almost like a flag football type game. It seems interesting to me, something that I've never seen before.
So you could have like a high scoring basketball game, like 70-50 in that.
Yeah.
And you could still lose but score 55 points.
Yeah. Wow.
So
I know a couple of those Concord scores that we said throughout the year. They were like massive scores, and I remember being like, what the heck is going on there? And then 8-man makes more sense of like, yeah, that's why that's going on.
But they had to move to 8-man because they just it's not anything the athletic department out there can do really, but
well, smaller schools have to do that.
Their enrollment is down.
Yeah, they can't field a whole team.
So of course, in girls basketball, they're in D4. They made the semifinal. We were there. But 2 years ago, 2022 was the last year they competed in Division III.
They were in D3?
They were in D3 for a long time. Every now and then they'd go down to 4 for a couple of years, but they were always
Wow.
in 3, and still competing decently in D3.
Wow.
They have D3 athletes and good level teams, but just because their school is so small, that's why they're so dominant in Division 4.
Right.
Except for football, the way that Concord has put it out is, we have the athletes, we have great kids there, but overall, our district is just so small.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the same resources as even D4 schools or high D4 schools or 3 to even be able to compete with them. But I still give them credit because in basketball, they still play Michigan Center every year in girls to start the year. That's a tradition unofficially. And Center is Division 2. And they still play, Lumen at one point, who's 3, Columbia Central, who's D2. So they still go out and play other local teams in our area who's D2, 1, 3.
Yeah.
And they still put up fights with them. So a lot of respect for Concord for still being successful no matter what division they're in, because they have the athletes. They just don't have the resources and everything to play at a higher level.
Yeah, and speaking of Concord, shout out to Matt Lehman, who was on Monday mornings. I don't know if you've
he was on the
yet.
Monday Mornings podcast.
Yeah, part 1 is already out, but part 2 is going to be...
there's a 2-parter?
It is a 2-parter. Part 2 is going to be this Monday is when it's going to premiere. So if you haven't watched
coming
it...
Monday?
Yes. So if you haven't watched it already, watch part 1. Get ready for part 2. That'll be out on Monday for... I think it's about another 30 minutes of them. So so it's really cool to hear from Matt Lehman, to actually have him sit down, because we're used to either running into him, having a quick conversation, or even being on the Bart show or something like that, where it's maybe he'll have
or
15,
being
10
on
minutes.
the headset for a few minutes at the game.
Exactly. So it's it was cool to hear Andy and Jen talk with him for about an hour in here, and he had a lot of good stories, a lot of good stuff.
For sure. We got to get him on here too.
He would be awesome on here. We gotta sit down and talk about maybe some future guests. I know we have one future guest lined up, but to get a couple more on here, I think it'd be some fun discussions.
And we will make that announcement later in the show.
Yes, I know that's going to probably be one of the later segments. But so if you're watching, get ready. We're going to tell you.
And real quick here before we go to break, stepping away from football and MHSAA, Matt Grimes.
What? I just read this on the run. I didn't see this before. I can't believe this.
Matt Grimes, no longer the Jackson United hockey coach. Nothing public as to why. Obviously, we're not going to share or speculate. But out as the JU hockey coach. He was the 2022 SEC Coach of the Year and most playoff wins of any Jackson hockey coach. A new head coach has not been named or shared publicly yet, but thank you to everything from Matt Grimes and for what he did with the program. And Grimes Plumbing, a big sponsor on JTV.
That's very
with us,
sad.
so.
Shout out to Matt Grimes. He was awesome, and we hope we can still work. We're still working with him with stuff with Grimes Plumbing, like you said. But it was nice to be able to see him over there at Optimist for those games, and we did a few things where we interviewed him too, and he was always super willing to help us out. And
I know, unfortunately, the two games we always do there.
And those are probably the 2 toughest games on his schedule when you really think about it. I mean, Lumen is a powerhouse, so it's those are going to be the 2 toughest games. So, and there were some close ones that we had where they almost beat Lumen. I think it was last year and the year prior. They had some close ones. They had one that went in overtime that I think maybe was 2 years ago. But, shout out to him. He did an awesome job there.
And the only reason why Lumen didn't even make it past the 16 round,
they were facing
was because they were playing arguably the best team in D2 or 3, whatever they were.
Yeah,
in Orchard Lake, St. Mary's.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
Yeah,
if they didn't have to play them, they would have
gone further as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But there will be a new coach at the helm of Jackson United next year. So. And with all the craziness in spring sports happening, all the cancellations and everything moving around, stay up to date with everything. Subscribe to JTV Sports for free. Pick as many schools as you want. You can subscribe to 1. You could use Noah Baker's email and subscribe to all of them.
Yeah, I mean he's gone for the week, so I logged onto his computer and resubscribed him to every single school. So we'll see. We'll see.
You.
Yeah, we'll see his reaction when he gets back. But obviously, like you said, tons of things going on, so everybody needs to be subscribed to their favorite schools to figure out what's going on and to get photo galleries and all that kind of stuff. That's all on there.
Yeah, each week we send you a newsletter email to you, and it shows the most recent things we've covered that week or in the last few weeks from your school, sports-wise. And who knows, there might be a link to the David Rice Show on
That's
there
right.
sometimes.
And it's essential if you have a kid that's in these sports, that goes to these schools and that's participating in sports, it's essential to have that. You want to be able to stay up to date on that kind of stuff and see if your kid made the photo galleries.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's essential to tune into our show.
Oh, well, I mean, that's
too.
pretty cool too. Yeah, we thank you if you do that as well.
Yeah, if you want to listen to us.
Yes, of course, yeah.
When we come back, I think it's safe to say the Red Wings are not going to make the playoffs. This was even a worse finish than how last year ended.
Yeah, it's not looking good right now.
So we'll get to the Red Wings and the NBA playoffs when we come back on JTV. Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency and Pataki Orthodontics. A great smile, always in style. At Pataki, PatakiOrtho.com, Grass Lake, Hillsdale, and Coldwater. So next Thursday, the 17th, is the last day of the regular season in the National Hockey League. And 5 games left for the Red Wings, and they are 8 points behind the last wild card spot, and they lost 5-1 last night, Tuesday, to Montreal. Who's ahead of them?
Yeah, they are, which that was not the one to lose, but they are a game. Montreal has one more game played, so they're at 87 points. Wings are at 79, tied with 3 other teams, rather. They're tied with the Rangers, the Islanders, and Columbus Blue Jackets. But I said this last year about the Tigers. Remember, I don't want to even find the footage and cut to it. But I gave up on them when they had a 0.1% chance of making the playoffs. I was like, yeah, it's probably over. And then that's when they went on the run. So I'm going to make a statement right now.
Uh-oh.
And say that it's over, hoping that the Red Wings might win out, even though they face some pretty darn good teams. I'm going to say it now, that the Red Wings are done. They're probably, as much as I don't want to say, they probably don't have a chance of making the playoffs. At least we have the Tigers and Pistons to look forward to.
Well, you don't have to worry about going back and finding this clip because they ain't making the playoffs.
Well, come on.
Don't get your hopes high.
Aww. Yeah.
I don't even watch hockey, so it doesn't matter.
They face a lot of really good teams coming up too, so that's going to make it difficult. I don't know about the Rangers, Islanders, and Columbus, and then also you got to fight off. You got to hope Montreal keeps losing as well. If they keep winning a few games, so they almost have to lose out. Red Wings almost have to win out. It's probably not going to happen. It's even more dire than what the
Write it off
Red Wings
now,
or what the Tigers were. Yeah, I think it's over. But I will say this: in more fun hockey news, we didn't talk about this on Monday, but happened over the weekend. I believe Ovechkin passed.
Yeah, I watched it.
I got to see it too. That was a pretty darn cool moment. Did you see the pin that Gretzky had?
I did not.
He was wearing a Gordie Howe pin, which was his idol growing up. It's who he passed to break the record. And I guess Gordie Howe's wife gave Wayne Gretzky's wife a present when he broke the record. So then Wayne Gretzky's wife gave Ovechkin's wife a present when they broke the record. Kind of keep that family together, I guess, of the top goal scorers in NHL history. I kind of like that connection there. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but that's all the announcers said. They were just like, oh, they exchanged, gave them gifts. So who knows?
Well, the greatest goal scorer now
doesn't even sound right
in NHL history.
Just doesn't even sound like that.
Alex Ovechkin.
Now I will say this: fantasy draft 1-1. The answer is still Gretzky to take him because his assists, no one's going to pass his points. No one's going to pass his goals and assists, because his assists were crazy. He was an amazing, playmaker out there on the ice on top of being. So he's probably still the best playmaker in NHL history. I'd still take him number 1 overall. But even with my boy Yzerman out there. Maybe I'd take Lidstrom #1 overall just because Lidstrom's like my favorite player of all. He's my favorite player of all time. He's the perfect.
Yeah, but he's not the best all time.
No, but
Wayne Gretzky's still the GOAT.
Right, but like if I'm building a team, cementing your defense with the greatest defensive hockey player of all time, it's a pretty good start.
Lindstrom.
Yeah, dude. He was known as the perfect human. He never messed up. So I'll go out.
Nobody is perfect.
Lidstrom. Lidstrom was pretty darn close.
Besides Lindstrom, nobody is perfect. And in the NBA playoffs, Pistons are 4 games ahead of 7th seed playing with 3 games left. Likely going to play the Knicks in the first round.
Which I like.
That's going to be an interesting matchup.
That's going to be a fun series. Can you imagine if we were to go up 2-0 against the Knicks at MSG? Can you imagine the fan base going nuts? Oh, it'd be so
Even
much fun.
winning 1 game at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, man, they're going to be fed up with the Pistons. I love it.
Yeah. That would remind me of old classic Bad Boys, Knicks, Ewing matchups. Just without the Bulls having to be in the way.
That's right.
This time.
And I do want to say we are 2 games behind Milwaukee for the 5th.
In the last 2 games, we played the Bucks.
Oh, in one of those 2 games. Okay, so I guess there's a shot. I don't know if there's like a tiebreaker or anything like that. Because how many games are left in the season?
For the Pistons, 3.
3. Okay, so they would probably have to win out
at home and then at Milwaukee on Sunday to end the season.
A potential playoff matchup if it ends up getting there, if the Pistons can get past the Knicks. I think I read somewhere.
Well, 2 games left. They played yesterday, so 2 games.
Okay.
It's
2 games now.
At home and then Sunday at Milwaukee.
Okay, so maybe there isn't a chance to get the 5th seed. I don't know how that works with.
They'd have to win both against the Bucks.
But then they would have the same record, so I don't know how that tiebreaker would work. Yeah, because I don't know what they did the last few times they faced Milwaukee.
Probably by conference record.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. So I'm not sure, but still, no one predicted. I don't think that the Pistons would.
No, because the Pistons had the worst record, almost the worst record in history last year.
Yeah.
Had the longest losing streak ever. What was it? 28 games. Is that what it was? 27.
So crazy. You know, the Bobcats were a team. Remember how bad the Bobcat? I mean, you were so young, you probably barely remember.
No, I remember watching them. And LeBron had the game there because Michael Jordan still owned the team.
Yeah.
LeBron stared him down.
Destroyed him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a really funny video on YouTube. I don't remember who it's by. Maybe it's SB Nation. And it was either SB Nation or John Boyce. I don't know if you watch him at all on YouTube. But
I've heard of him.
Yeah, there's a really funny video where it's like I pay these guys to wear shorts or something like that. And it's just about that bad season for the Bobcats. And that's like a quote from Michael Jordan, I guess. But it is hysterical. You have to watch it sometime. It's really good.
They only ended up with what, like 10 wins that one year?
Bad.
9?
9. I don't even think they got double digits.
9 and 73.
Yeah.
That is bad.
It's so bad.
Do you think if we put together a JTV squad, we could have more than 9 wins?
No. We would have 0. We'd have 0.
You don't think we'd win 1 game?
No. We could have, how about this? We could have a JTV team and LeBron James, and we would not win a single game in the NBA.
Yeah, we could.
No, we couldn't.
Remember the bad team LeBron carried to the finals in 07?
Yeah, those players are all better than us. There's no way.
Yeah, but they're still not good.
Yeah, but I mean, Boobie Gibson was pretty darn good. Remember Anderson Varejao?
Boobie Gibson, Anderson Varejao,
Zydrunas
Ilgauskas.
He was a Hall of Famer.
Eric's.
I think Ilgauskas is a Hall of Famer. He at least got his jersey retired by the Cavs. Maybe he isn't a Hall of Famer, but he got his jersey retired by the Cavs.
Eric Snow. The list goes on and on. Delonte West, who might be LeBron's dad. We still don't know.
I just can't believe you think that
I hope he gets better.
That a JTV team could pick up a win, let alone not 10 wins.
If LeBron can score 30 straight like he did against the Pistons, we'll be all right. We'll win at least 1 game.
Maybe if you gave him Luka as well, maybe we'd be able to do it. But
we would just need LeBron James.
He loves LeBron. He loves LeBron. Where would you? This is a random question. I just, we got a little bit of time, but random question.
I'm nervous.
Your top 3 best NBA players of all time. What would you? I hate always like having. I think this is a better discussion than just like Jordan or LeBron. I like hearing like top 3 or top 5s a little bit more. What would be your your
And you
order.
can't compare just one or the two, Jordan or LeBron, because of eras. Even Jordan
It's
said
tough.
that himself
It's
before.
tough. But I guess we'll say 4 to make it a Mount Rushmore. Like, who would be your NBA Mount Rushmore?
Interchangeable, either 1 or 2, Jordan or LeBron,
Well,
1,
here
1
you
and
just
2.
you have 4, so it's just and it's no order. So it's just your top 4. It doesn't have to
Jordan,
be in a certain-
LeBron.
Okay.
Kobe.
Okay. Oh, Kobe's on the list.
I think he has to be. And the 4th is tough because then you start getting into a pick of like 5 or 6 different people. You can go Kareem, Shaq, Magic, Duncan, Bird,
Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain.
Bill, Wilt, and then after those 7, he's not top 4. But if you're really crazy, Steph Curry in the top 10.
Gotta put somebody.
Just because of his success too in high school, college, and the NBA, gotta go with Kareem.
Good answer. Mine, since you're asking, mine would be mine would be 3 of your guys. So it'd be LeBron, Jordan, and Kareem. I would leave Kobe off. Kareem. I was trying to say act like I was saying Kobe, and that's Kareem. Kareem, and probably it'd be Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain.
Wait,
What?
Kobe's not on there?
No.
Kobe's not even in the 4?
No, he wouldn't be 4. It would be
What?
It'd be
What?
yeah. I know. I'm sorry. It would be. This isn't my personal. This is just who I think is the Mount Rushmore, I guess. But it would probably be Bill Russell. I guess I'll say. I want to say Wilt, but I'll just say Bill Russell would be the 4. You have 11 championships in 13 seasons. I mean, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah, nobody will ever do that ever
No,
again.
that's just unbelievable. So, and he was a coach. He was a coach for I think at least one.
No,
of
not
those.
a good coach.
Well, he was still a coach for one of those as he was a player. Like he played in the game as he was coaching. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, LeBron does that now, but you know.
Well,
He
LeBron's the
did that
coach,
for a little bit.
GM,
Yeah.
owner,
Yeah, exactly.
janitor, head of concessions.
Well, we'll have to have a discussion during one of these weeks when there's not many sports topics. We'll have to do Mount Rushmore for every sport because I'd be curious what your Mount Rushmore for other sports would be. Like football and baseball, you know, even hockey. I'd be curious.
I don't know if hockey'd be tough for me because I don't watch a lot of hockey.
I mean, there's ones that you'd always put at, there's 2 of them that are cemented at the top, right? Like you're going to have Gordie Howe and Gretzky on there, but
right.
I guess the other 2 would be open to interpretation or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Now, I know you only asked for the top 4 for Mount Rushmore, and I want to talk about the Masters really quick.
Yeah,
but top 10, just to round it out here. Not in order, of course, but yeah, Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Kareem, Magic,
Bird.
Would
you put Bill Russell?
Bill Russell. It's 8.
So now it's your 2. Who's the final 2? Shaq?
Oh, Shaq.
So you got 1 left.
So then that leaves. This is
Kareem
where it
make
always gets interesting with people picking the 10 because you can go Curry, you can go Duncan.
Dirk. I would not be upset if somebody said Dirk for 10. He was unbelievable. He was one of my favorites growing up.
Yeah, Curry, Duncan, Dirk, Hakeem.
Yeah, getting about Olajuwon, yeah.
Man.
Who would it be if you have to pick one? I'm thinking you're going to say Curry, aren't you?
No, I'm going to
Change the
say
game.
somebody I haven't said yet.
Who? Who's 10th?
Kevin Durant.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like Sam Bowie. Oh, Kevin Durant.
Bison Daly.
Really? Durant's 10? Durant's a better player than Curry?
ESPN's already talking about Joker top 10.
I believe
If he's top 10, which he isn't.
Oh, he could be.
Well, he's not better than Durant all
I
time.
think he is. I think he's on the path to being it. I'd rather have
When it's all said and done, yes. Not right this second.
Yeah, some of it though you have
right
to
this
predict
second,
it.
I'd put Durant as the 10th spot.
Some of it you have to predict, like the NBA did with their top 50 players. They put Shaq in there probably before he should have been in there, but they got it right because he was one of the top 50 players of all time. But I kind of feel like when it's all said and done, Joker is going to be top 10, at least top 15.
Either Curry or Durant at 10. Interchangeable. I'd be happy with it. I have to pick one.
You got to pick one. There's only so much room on Mount Rushmore. We've already extended it from 4 to 10, so they're running out of room. Who would be?
I'd have to go with Kevin Durant because of the MVPs in the finals MVPs.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That he really took away from Steph Curry.
I wouldn't put Durant in my top 10.
Okay.
I pretty much have the exact same list as you, except I would put Duncan instead of Durant. Same list as you, but that would be the only difference.
Oh, and I don't disagree either way. Curry, Durant, Duncan, Dirk. That 10 spot's interchangeable with like 4 different people.
It's hard. There's always a cutoff. It's like with, whenever they do these kind of lists, there's always a cutoff where you're just like, oh, but you forgot this team. Or this player and this player, like the all-star selections every year. It's always like, oh, so this guy got snubbed. Trae Young was the one last year where it's like, oh, he got snubbed. It's like every year that, every time you make these lists, something like that happens. But yeah, it's fun to have these discussions. I was just kind of curious what your list was.
One pick here, real quick. Who's the greatest team of all time?
Probably that Bulls. Probably the Bulls, the 73 win Bulls. I would say. That's
72 win Bulls. 73 win Warriors.
73 Warriors. Yeah, correct. Probably them. I think if you had the 72 Bulls against this is what made my decision is if you put that Bulls team up, I know you can't compare errors, but you put that Bulls team up against that Warriors team, that Bulls team wins in a 7-game series.
Right. What's crazy is Steve Kerr played on the Bulls team and then he coached the Warriors team.
Funny. That's weird. It's always fun when you put them up against each other in NBA 2K because then you have the guy on the bench is also on the other bench, but as a coach. And
Steve Kerr played for Greg Popovich too.
And he won a championship. He won that championship when it was Duncan and David Robinson on that team. He was on that team that won. So
and I think Robert Horry was too.
He was, yeah, Mr. Big Shot. Oh no, that's Chauncey, but he still made big shots.
Yeah, Big Shot Bob.
Yeah.
But Masters, real quick before we go to break. Masters, starting this Thursday, ESPN Plus, 8:45, first tee time. Everybody complains about how expensive beer is at games and concessions. I'm pulling up the menu here. Still, to this day, the Masters is by far, other than Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
And Coastal Carolina Stadium, from what I hear, they're giving away free.
Oh, that's just
all-inclusive beverages and stuff. Yeah.
But besides Mercedes-Benz, the Masters is the cheapest. So, there are 4 signature items here.
The pimento cheese.
The pimento cheese sandwich, $1.50.
Man.
And it's still a regular 2-piece of white bread sandwich.
Give me 3 of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I didn't know what was in the sandwich, so I looked it up yesterday because I was curious. It's pimento cheese with peppers, mayo, and then just a few different spices.
Man, give me 4 of them. That sounds good.
Yep. Egg salad. I don't like egg salad, but
it's okay. I'm not
$1.50.
Okay.
And then pork barbecue.
That would be the one.
$3.
See, oh man, yeah.
Masters Club, $3. Chicken salad sandwich on honey wheat bread.
I like that. That's
it's right up your alley.
Yeah.
$3.
Dude, you got to get one of everything.
Classic chicken sandwich, $3.
Man.
Ham and cheese on rye. You guessed it.
$3.
$3. Breakfast, even though. You go ahead.
No, I was gonna say no. You go.
Even though the first tea time is until 8:45, they only serve breakfast until 10, and we talked about that during the break. Masters Blend coffee, $2. Chicken biscuit, $2.
How about beer?
Well, the beer, talking about regular domestic beer.
Yeah, I just want my
$5.
See, that's good.
Imported beer, $5.
I'm pretty sure at a Lions game, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like $12.50.
And that is ridiculous.
Yeah. Are you sure you get a tall? You might get a tall one. Draft might be like.
They only serve one size, right?
Well, yeah, but you get that tall can.
Right, but Crow's Nest, their specialty mixed drink. I don't know what's in it, but guess how much that is?
$5.
Lakers and five.
Oh,
$5. White wine.
$5?
$6.
Oh, $6. Oh, okay, so premium for that wine. These prices are crazy.
Yeah, I know. Soft drinks, bottled water, iced tea, $2. Breakfast sandwich, I'm assuming egg, bacon, or sausage and cheese, $3.
This is
You can get a muffin for $1.50.
I think you got to go to the Masters, obviously to watch the Masters, but also just to get all that stuff and just try it.
I saw a TikTok a couple days ago because, your phone listens to you and it's listening to us right now. But because we were talking about the Masters on the last show and how I think we've said it before, how cheap their food is there. So the first thing that pops up on my For You page on TikTok is this couple that went to the Masters last year and got every single thing on the
That's
menu.
cool. That's cool.
And it only totaled like $30 or $40 or something.
Man. We'll have to ask. We'll have to ask after the show what Andy's favorite item was, because I know that they probably got a few of them when they're there.
Well, my dad went 2 years ago.
What did he say?
3.
Did he have like a favorite item?
He didn't say. I will report back on Monday.
I'd love to hear. if he, and I want to hear.
Well, because we'll talk about who won.
Yeah.
Monday.
Hopefully, Scotty. I don't know if you have real quick before we go to break. Who's your favorite? Is it Scotty?
Scotty.
Yeah.
They had the champions dinner last night too.
Oh, I saw the menu. We're still talking about food, but
the winner from the year before gets to pick the menu.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. Scotty did a good job.
Have you seen that video of some of the stupidest menus that they've had there ever? Like
McDonald's or something?
One was like McDonald's. One was like cereal.
I mean, if you want to troll them, that would be the thing to do.
Scotty, for like an appetizer or a starter for soup, he did Texas style chili with Fritos.
Yeah,
and
good.
Sour cream. Oh,
come on,
man!
Come on,
jalapenos in there.
Oh, give me some jalapenos. Come on.
What? Jalapenos. Anyways, when we come back, by the way, Tiger wasn't at the dinner.
Oh, was he not?
Because of that torn Achilles, he can't walk.
Ooh, yeah.
Anyways, when we come back, NFL Draft will announce our guest for next Wednesday. Stay tuned. Welcome back here on JTV. So, real quick here before we go, mentioned earlier in the show we'd have a guest announcement to make.
That's right. Who do we got?
Next Wednesday on the show, 2019 Jackson High School graduate, two-time D2 All-American DB with Saginaw Valley State, entering the NFL Draft, Mike Kretzinger.
Whoa.
Next Wednesday.
Hey.
On the show. So, excited about that. Yeah. Thank you. Well, thanks to him for taking the time to be
that's
with
super
us. So
cool.
we'll show you that next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, new mock draft today came out from CBS Sports. Very different than ESPN's mock draft. Cam Ward at 1 to Tennessee. That's not big news. Travis Hunter, number 2 to Cleveland. Number 5, Ashton Genty to Jacksonville.
Oh, I saw him in some mocks going to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Shadur, number 7 to the Jets, who already have Justin Fields.
Yeah, Shadur is a little bit more interesting, but I think him dropping to 7 is pretty wild. And it could happen, but I think it's pretty wild.
ESPN's new mock still has him at 9 to the Saints. So, Will Johnson, back-to-back Michigan picks. Will Johnson at 8 to Carolina. That'd be awesome on the Panthers defense with their offense, who Carolina might be okay this year if Bryce Young can continue the way he ended last year.
I'm not sold yet, but we'll see.
They should have beat Kansas City.
Yeah, but I'm still not sold. We'll see what happens.
And Mason Graham at 9 to the Saints. And Green Bay needs a receiver. Emeka Ibuka at 23rd from Ohio State to the Packers. That'd be awesome.
The sad thing is I see him being a very, very good wide receiver. I see him being the next like big thing in terms of receivers in the NFL.
We'll take them.
And that's what stinks. I would hate for you guys to get them.
We'll take
How
him.
about come to Detroit? How about you drop a few
He's not
picks
falling
and you
that
come to
far.
Detroit? How about we trade up like we do every draft, right above the Packers? We take them we trade with whoever's at spot 22 and we take them. Just saying.
My hatred for the Lions would grow even more
Perfect.
than it already is
Perfect.
if that happens.
That's what I want to hear.
Again, subscribe to JTV Sports. Check out MHSA.com, school's Facebook and athletic websites for all this crazy spring weather that we always have, and the schedule's always getting moved around. So thanks to Pataki Orthodontics, and thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency. And Monday we'll talk about the Masters winner and build your own.
Yeah, we're going to make our own
Masters
Masters
dinner.
menu. Yeah.
So that's coming up Monday. Have a great weekend, and thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.